All right, guys, got some amazing news here. So DOGE is officially cooked. It is done. It is over. It's a wrap. So here's some reporting from Reuters. Exclusive, DOGE doesn't exist with 8 months left on its charter. They say U.S. President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency has disbanded with 8 months left to its mandate, ending an initiative launched with fanfare as a symbol of Trump's pledge to slash the government's size, but which critics say delivered few measurable savings. Quote, that doesn't exist. Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper told Reuters earlier this month when asked about DOGE's status. It's no longer a centralized entity, Cooper added in the first public comments from the Trump administration on the end of DOGE. The agency set up in January made dramatic forays across Washington in the early months of Trump's second term to rapidly shrink federal agencies, cut their budgets, or redirect their work to Trump priorities. So let me just pause to point out every single thing they did, everything they did was wildly, wildly illegal, and it's not even close. You had the world's richest man hacking into the Treasury, deleting whatever he wanted to delete. By the way, the other piece of speculation is that the whole point of this exercise was for him to steal all of our data for his AI system, which, again, wildly, wildly illegal. So he left a trail of devastation and destruction, while at the same time somehow managing to not save any actual money in the long run. So they continue here and say, the OPM, the federal government's Human Resources Office, has since taken over many of DOGE's functions. According to Cooper and documents reviewed by Reuters, at least 2 prominent DOGE employees are now involved with the National Design Studio, a new body created through an executive order signed by Trump in August. That body is headed by Joe Gebbia, co-founder of Airbnb, and Trump's order directed him to beautify government websites. Gebbia was part of billionaire Elon Musk's DOGE team, while DOGE employee Edward Korstein, nicknamed Big Balls, was encouraged followers on his X account to apply to join. The fading away of DOGE is in sharp contrast to the government-wide effort over months to draw attention to it, with Trump, his advisors, and his cabinet secretaries posting about it on social media. Musk, who led DOGE initially, regularly touted its work on his X platform, and at one point brandished a chainsaw to advertise his efforts to cut government jobs. So this is the most clear admission I've ever seen that all of this failed colossally. That none of this worked. It was all a mess. And at first they thought they were bragging about good stuff, but all the reporting just ripped this fucking ridiculous exercise to shreds. And now we learn stuff like this. Look at this in Raw Story. Suddenly exposed, DOGE employees fear prosecution after Musk abandoned them. Report. Which, by the way, why would you fear prosecution if you weren't doing anything wrong? Why would you fear prosecution if you were just making the government more efficient, bro? Why would you fear prosecution? Like, it's almost like you committed crimes. You know you committed crimes. You know you harmed people's lives. And now here you are trying to play cleanup after the fact. And there's nothing you can do because now even the top of DOGE is like, I'm out this bitch. I want nothing to do with this anymore. So here's what they say. Current and former Department of Government Efficiency staffers are growing increasingly concerned that the work they did slashing government programs and eliminating jobs will come back to haunt them with the possibility of criminal prosecutions. Worse still is their growing belief that the billionaire Elon Musk, who recruited them, won't step up to save them by appealing to Trump on their behalf should things take a turn for the worse. Fucking of course he won't. You know what Elon is concerned with? His own ass. He's trying to protect his own ass. He doesn't give a fuck about yours. He was asking you to commit crimes on a daily basis, and you did it, thinking you guys were fucking invincible, thinking Elon knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about. He doesn't. And now here you are. As Politico's Sophia Kai and Daniel Lipmanis are reporting, in June, a handful of so-called DOGE tech bros packed up their possessions and departed the 6th floor of the General Services Administration building where they had been living to look for new lodgings. That move came after Musk and Trump parted ways acrimoniously in a war of words and finger-pointing, with the two still keeping their distance from each other till this day, outside of occasional social media sniping at each other. Noting that the DOGE staffers have lived with the ever-present threat of backlash, public scrutiny, upset cabinet officials, even the prospect that someone might assert criminal charges against them, the report notes there is a growing sense of dread that Musk will no longer champion them if they are subject to investigations. Quote, Musk had not been just their visionary leader. For them, he was their protector, the man who had a direct line to Trump, who they believe could pick up the phone and secure a presidential pardon if the worst came. Without his presence in Washington, they were suddenly exposed. Politico is reporting before adding that a recent gathering, a senior Doge figure named Donald Park tried to reassure his colleagues that they were still brothers in arms and that Musk would continue to protect them. That led to another protesting and advising, guys, seriously, get your own lawyer if you need it. Elon's great, but you need to watch your own back. He's not fucking protecting you. In fact, he would love to just make you the fall guy. If justice ever comes, he will point his fingers directly at the young Doge underlings and say, they went rogue. They went rogue. Oh, when this agency was illegally cut, that was a rogue action from this fucking 26-year-old staffer. So they would give everything for Elon. Elon gives nothing back. Do you not understand that he's a con artist? Do you not get it yet? Is it not clear to you yet? He's the king of vaporware. How many times has he promised to deliver on some big thing and then didn't? He was taking donations, or he was taking down payments, I should say, for the Tesla Roadster, the sports car, the electric sports car, which, by the way, what he promised wasn't even possible, that the battery to make that car work would have to be bigger than the car itself. But he started taking money, and then he never fucking delivered. And that's one of many examples. Oh, I'm going to put you on Mars in 10 years. Here we are 15 years later. We're nowhere closer to Mars. He is a lying con man. He is a snake oil salesman. He's a con artist. Wake up. Stop believing in fucking Santa Claus. You're grown-ass men. But no, you gave your lives to go work for this man and set up shop in Washington, D.C. and sleep in some government building so you could, while you terrorize the actual government employees. And now you're realizing you're coming to and you're going, holy shit, what did I just do? Holy shit, what's going to happen now? Am I cooked? Are we cooked? The answer is yes, you are cooked. Because if any Democrat who gives a shit about the law in any way, shape, or form gets into power, that's the first thing I do is go after the ICE Gestapo thug criminals and the DOGE criminals. Because the amount of pain, people forget the amount of pain that this man caused. Elon Musk's cuts, this is because of DOGE. They made cuts to malaria medication, to HIV medication, to foreign aid, that I'm not kidding, millions of people will die as a direct result of those cuts. Millions. They cut back on foreign students and medical research and air traffic controllers and food safety inspectors, and they fired 250,000 government workers overall. They shut 50% of the Social Security offices. They fired 83,000 veterans. They destroyed the Department of Education. They destroyed FEMA. They fired nuclear safety officials and had to beg for the top one to come back. They cut the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's the anti-scam police. They destroyed Meals on Wheels and cut that. They cut the National Weather Service and pediatric cancer research. So this is what you did. Every single dollar, every single penny of those cuts was illegal. And now you're realizing, oh shit. And by the way, again, the most embarrassing part of all of this, they committed all these crimes. They cut all these things. They destroyed so many people's lives. And then meanwhile, they actually didn't save any money whatsoever. They didn't save anything. At the end of all of that, they didn't even save anything. Because there's other costs that they didn't account for because they're fucking dumb. They think like, oh, we'll slash and burn and fire all these government employees and that'll work out. Well, what happens is you still owe them money, right? You still owe them money. So you got all these people, okay, we're going to resign. It's too much. It's bullshit. We're going to fucking resign. They still get paid. So all of these cuts, all these horrific, disgusting cuts, and it's more than made up for in what you're forced to pay out after the fact. What was the point of any of this? I saw like Ron DeSantis tweeted, Doge stood up to the swamp and the swamp won. And it's like, no, Doge is the swamp. They're the problem. You have the world's richest man, a billionaire robber baron prick who thinks he's God's gift to this earth and his shit doesn't stink. Meanwhile, he's a piece of shit. This guy illegally hacking into the treasury, looting the fuck out of it, by the way, quite literally. He's taken tens of billions of dollars in government subsidies himself. So you got that guy. Sorry, you can't have your Meals on Wheels. Sorry, you can't have your pediatric cancer research. One of the things they cut, and I'm not kidding about this, we covered it the other day actually. One of the things they cut was a literal cure for a certain type of cancer. It was like some gene editing cure. I think it was leukemia for a certain type of cancer. They cut that. They cut the funding. Like, what do you even say in response to that? There's been zero accountability. There's been zero justice. The only thing that's happened is the backlash became too overwhelming for these people to deal with. So Elon fought with Trump and said he was on the Epstein list. So their relationship kind of fell apart a little bit. The Doge guys were like, all right, I think I'm out this bitch. Some of them were wound up being sent to other government agencies to do other kinds of work. But the fact that they fear criminal prosecution, I love that. I bathe in it. You need to fear that. You should fear that. Again, if any fucking Democrat worth a shit gets in office again, you're right on the top of the list. Elon Musk should be right on the top of the list with all of his endless crimes. That he basically went on a massive crime spree. And you motherfuckers thought you'd get away with it? We need to make sure they don't get away with it. We need to make sure of that. And they're right when they say, I don't know if Elon's going to protect us. Of course he's not going to protect you. If it means keeping his ass out, he'll try to cut a deal. He'll try to say, fuck, arrest every Doge person if my ass stays out of prison, because he's a scumbag piece of shit. He's a lying con artist, scumbag piece of shit. He destroyed the government and remember when he was saying, I can do trillions of dollars in cuts? You couldn't even do $1 billion in cuts, bitch. You couldn't even do $1 billion. They also, remember when they lied about all their accounting? Here's the numbers. Here's all the cuts we made. And experts would go through them and say, your math doesn't even make sense. Your math doesn't even add up. Never mind the fact that even if it did, you'd still be wrong because that's not what you've cut. So, rest in piss, Doge. You are a scourge. You're all criminals. And the amount of pain and devastation and harm that you cause this world is fucking incalculable. Incalculable. You have some people who didn't get their fucking Social Security checks because of this comeback. Social Security never missed a payment in its entire history until fucking Elon Musk came along. Until Elon Musk destroyed Social Security, closed 50% of the offices down. So, they belong in hell. These are demons. They belong in hell. And you absolutely should throw the book at them. 100%. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.